It's with great pleasure that I welcome you all to our 10th, yes I said 10th annual Berlin High School Athletic Hall of Fame. My name is Bart Bove, and I've had the privilege of serving as president of the Hall. This year we'll induct another special class of individuals who forever represent Berlin High School athletics. This year we'll induct 6 former athletes and a championship basketball team. They will join our 9 previous classes to the Hall. This year brings our Hall of Fame inductees to 115. As all Hall of Fame members are enshrined in our permanent display located in the hall in the Berlin High School across from the Media Center, we invite you all to please visit the display the next time you're at the high school, especially in an sporting event at the school. Spend a few minutes looking at the plaques on the wall and honoring our past inductees. And if you can't get to the high school, we have a website in which you can read all about our biographies of all our inductees, as well as get other important information. Our website is www.bhshalloffame.org. I hope you'll enjoy this afternoon and will join us and with all of us representing the Hall of Fame Board of Directors in congratulating the 2019 class to the Hall of Fame. There are a few people I'd like to thank and recognize this afternoon for their continued support of the Hall of Fame. First of all, State Representative and House Majority Leader Joe Arisomowicz is here. If you please stand. And also like to thank the Berlin Mayor, Mark Kaczynski. Thanks to Mark and Joe, each of our inductees this afternoon will receive a proclamation from the state of Connecticut and the town of Berlin, recognizing each of our inductees for their accomplishments. I'd also like this opportunity to thank everyone who has donated to the Hall of Fame, including those persons who have taken ads listed in the program. Without their support, we would not be able to recognize our recipients in a manner they so well deserve. Please take a few seconds to review the program and let these individuals know that you noticed their ad and you appreciate their support. And finally, we'd like to offer a special thanks to Paul Salina. For each of the last 10 induction dinners, Paul has volunteered his time to photograph each and every ceremony. Thanks, Paul, for being here again. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Berlin Hall of Fame Athletic Board of Directors. This group of people work hard to determine each year's inductees and to put on the banquet. I would ask that this year's boards please stand as I call the name and stay standing until I complete the list. First, Donna Bove, our treasurer. Ken Bertina, Jim Capodice, Robin Kopp, our secretary, Richard Crow, Diane Egrazarian, George Konopka Jr., our vice president, Anthony Lignani, Jeff Morrow, our athletic director, Jim McNair, Rick Pentor, Bob Rosso, Jerry Siegel, Marie Siegel, Scott Wenzel, who's not here, and Bob Zippadelli. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for your efforts over the past year. I'd also like to note that if anyone has interest in joining the board, and we hear a lot of names, but we don't get any applications, will you please contact one of the board members you saw standing, and they will answer any questions you may have. The application process is quite simple. We meet once a month, and you can be part of our happy group. And in your program, towards the back of the book, is a nomination form. If you think you know of somebody worthy of induction to the Hall of Fame, we would encourage you to please take advantage of this opportunity to nominate that individual. Nominations can also be made on our page on our website. And during the past year, we lost 2 members of our Hall of Fame family. Robert McCann of the class of 2011 and Charles Vigra of the induction class of 2013. In honor of Mr. McCann and Mr. Vigra, I would ask for brief moments of silence to honor both of them. Thank you. Thank you. So this year we're doing things a little bit differently. I spent way too much time talking, so at this point in time I'd like to introduce our guest speaker for the afternoon, Channel 3 Sports Director Joe Zone. Joe comes to the Hartford market in 2006 and has worked all over the country with stops in Los Angeles, Scranton, Providence, New York, Chicago, and Syracuse. Joe has covered major sports as well as minor ones. And Joe is very familiar with high school sports, hosting Friday Night Football and Friday Night Frenzy. As you can guess it, on Friday night, where local sports are a staple of a show. So please give Joe a warm welcome as I ask him to come to the platform.
Thank you. I was hoping this would move a little bit, not too much. Nice to see everybody. Thank you for inviting me on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. I played 14 holes this morning, and then that was the end of that. And weather is the big thing now. People, they just did a survey. People watching the news, the most important thing in their lives in the newscast, weather is number 1. Sports is number 8. Believe it or not, that's where we are. So the weather this week, I'm going to steal from those guys. You got one good day, it's tomorrow. Enjoy it. This past fall, I was at a UConn football game on the sideline. A man came up to me, shook my hand, and said, "I want to thank you, Mr. Zone, for honoring my son this year as an Athlete of the Week." Told me his name, and I said, "Well, you're welcome." It was a great thrill. Then he said to me, "Do you know that 40 years ago in Syracuse, New York, you honored me as an Athlete of the Week?" So, and you think back, and quite an impact. But it's amazing that he remembered that and how proud he was of his son and of himself winning that award. And, we sit back and we're out there running around with our TV cameras and just trying to put kids on TV, as many as we can, and sometimes we don't get the impact that we have when we cover the speed. And I have to tell you that, when I started in Syracuse in the 70s, I guarantee you that when Bob Costas and I were running around Syracuse shooting high school kids, that we weren't thinking our dream was going to be that we're going to spend our lives running around fields covering high school kids. We thought we were going to be out there, covering all the big events and going to the big time and making the big money. And obviously, Bob Costas has gone on and done that, and I've had, my share of some events. I have 5 that I always talk about. In the 80s, I was working in Scranton, and we were the Penn State station. 1982, Penn State and Georgia were number 1 and 2 in the country. That was the Herschel Walker, Georgia team. Penn State won that game in the national championship. That was Joe Paterno's first national championship. So I was on that one. A few years later, I was working at WCBS in New York, growing up in upstate New York as a diehard Giants fan. In the days when, watching your team on TV, that's what you did. There was one game on TV in the 60s and 70s, and there were no pregame shows and postgame shows and all. You watched one, it was a family event. So in 86, I was in New York, and everybody here in the room, I'm sure, remembers how great that 86-87 Giants team was that went to the Super Bowl and won the whole thing in Pasadena. I got to cover my boyhood team, my idol team, as a professional at the Super Bowl. So that was a good one. A few years later, back in Syracuse, I had a chance to cover the Jim Boeheim, Carmelo Anthony National Championship basketball team. So that was a good one. And then here in Connecticut, Brianna Stewart, Gino Auriemma's 4 national championships in a row for the UConn women. So that was good. There's one high school story, though, that is my favorite of all the things I covered that sticks out. In '92, now, we have a lot of fun here ranking, we make a big deal about how we rank teams around the state and who's number one, and it's almost impossible to figure it out. Well, think about doing that nationally. There's actually a mythical, national high school football poll. USA Today thinks that, with 10,000 high schools, they can tell you who the best one is. It's impossible to do, but it's fun to play the game. So in 1992, I was in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And if you know anything about Pennsylvania high school football, it's big time. I mean, those are some of the best players in the country play there. And one of the high school football teams there asked me to follow their season. They thought they were going to have a special season. They wanted me to videotape it, to announce it, to broadcast it, and have a season-long memory. That team was Berwick. I don't know if any of you ever heard of the Berwick great coal mining school. As it turned out, they won every game that year, played for number one in the country. They never played the team who was number 2 or number 3, but they won all of their games, all 16 of their games. We videotaped them all. They probably had the greatest high school quarterback I ever saw. His name was Ron Paulus, who was being recruited by everybody in the country then, including Notre Dame, Penn State, Pittsburgh. Ended up going to Notre Dame. Never had a high school injury in his life. His first game at Notre Dame, he broke his arm, and never really was the same again. He had a professional career as an assistant coach. But the passion that, you don't get that there's a big difference between high school passion and college passion, and pro passion is just, phony. It's just it's a bunch of rich guys sitting in the seats who can afford the tickets, and rah, look at my team and they're wearing gear. But the thing I love about the high school beat is how the coaches, the players, the fans, how they embrace us. I can't tell you after 45 years how much I enjoy showing up at a Berlin football game. Hi, Mr. Zone, thanks for coming. Could you imagine going to a professional game? I mean, even at UConn, it's like, are you sure you have to be here? You almost have to get that feeling, like they're running their own show there. I show up at Berlin, and when we do the 6 o'clock sports, you guys kick off at 6:30. I'm going to be on at 6:27. I got to worry about that national anthem during my live shot. I'll just ask the PA guy, can you hold the national anthem for me? And he will. Please hold the national anthem until I'm done. So we're running around now. We're covering all these schools. We're showing up at all these games. I got to tell you that I spend 95% of my time now covering high school sports. And I keep coming back. I can't wait to get out there. The events at the Mohegan Sun Arena with the basketball, and how that is packed now, and they had a record crowd this year for those games. So there's one thing, in 45 years of television, a lot of things have changed, and I've seen it all. But one thing has not changed. Mom and Dad still wants to see their kid on TV. And they don't want to see him on this little dinky phone. They don't want to see him in the computer over there in the sunroom. They want to see him on the big TV in the living room. That has not changed in 45 years. So that's why we keep doing it, because it's the only thing that makes us relevant as sports guys. There's nobody in this room who stays up until 11:15 to see what Joe Zone has to say about the Red Sox. Nobody cares. You've already seen it 10. They're over there talking about, I don't even know what happened to the Red Sox today, and they're over there talking about, they know who won, they got the highlights on their phone. All of the social media and all of the advancements have made local sports guys irrelevant. I mean, we're disappearing. Look around. I'm a one-man person now, the only full-time person in my department, and 2 part-time guys. That's where it's going, because you can all get 99% of your information everywhere else. But the high school thing is still what charges us up, what gets us out there. I say I spend 95% of my time covering high schools. I spend 80% of my time in the car, driving to the games. I see more games than anybody, and I don't see any games because it's in. I'm hoping to God somebody scores a touchdown in the first quarter so I can go on to the next game. That's why it's very hard. People say, how come you don't cover more hockey? You know what it's like to go to a hockey game with a camera and nobody scores a goal, and then you got to go back to the station? Field hockey's like that. Soccer's like that. It's not that we don't like them, but we can't spend that kind of time out there and come back with no video. Basketball is great. You go in there for 10 minutes, basket, 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 out. Love basketball. Lacrosse is kind of like that too. They get a lot of stuff. Baseball, softball, you know, it's a crapshoot. We're just hoping that we can come back with something. But the beat, the people, the excitement, and that's why I'm so happy for the people today who are being honored, because, you know, all of us in our lives have had a moment, you know, where we were really, really good. And, you know, the next day you got to go out and be really, really good again. I hope you can. But the people today are being honored based on a body of work, you know, their career, their season, their lives. You know, I laugh. I just got inducted into the New England Hall of Fame. It's the Silver Circle. You have to work 25 years. And I always say, you know, if you hang around long enough, you know, you can win anything, basically. And that's basically what happened. But, you know, that's a body of work recognition. They call me, I said, you know, you call me in 4 years, you can just give me the golden one. You know, I don't even have to worry about the silver. But they didn't laugh as much as I did. But congratulations to everyone in this room today, because you're being recognized for a body of work at a place where people are still passionate, where they still care, where there's still excitement, where those of us who, you know, I always feel like I'm just such a little tiny part of it, but I get pretty excited at these finals, and I see kids I've covered all year long, and here they are. Now they're playing for a championship. I don't know if you noticed this, but when we do our highlights, we never say negative things about high school kids. We don't say John Smith threw an interception. We say, you know, Bill Smith intercepted the ball. We don't say this kid fumbled it. We say this kid recovered it. We make it a point of not putting the negative emphasis on high school kids. They're high school kids playing sports. We're trying to put them in a positive light. We are finding so many negative stories and so much negative press out there today involving young people and coaches. So we try to pull back on that and put all of our kids that we feature in a positive light. We'll continue to do that. And congratulations to all of our kids today, all of our adults who are now adults, all the award winners. And thanks for having me here on a Sunday afternoon. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you very much, Joe. That was very good, very inspiring. Now to move things along, I'd like to introduce our Master of Ceremonies for our inductions. Please welcome former Berlin educator, coach, and athletic director, and Hall of Fame member of the class of 2012, George Hall.
Good afternoon. I'd like to start on a note that's a little bit different, but I want to get it said, and our board would like to get it said. I don't usually stand here on these occasions. George Sinnott does. But George is involved in a difficult health fight. And so we would like all of us to keep him in our thoughts and in our prayers as we go forward, and hope that he will be standing here next year and that I will be sitting down there with the rest of you. So give George a thought. Thank you very much for that. My name is George Hall. I have the absolute distinct honor and privilege of introducing the class, our 10th class. First, Mr. Edward Maguda. Ed Maguda graduated from Berlin High in 1937. In 1935, Berlin had become a full high school program, adding a 12th year that year, with sports being gradually phased in. Ed played baseball for the first 3 years of the start of the program and was selected as the co-captain of baseball in his senior year. He also played 2 years of football, starting in the second year of the program at Berlin High School. In basketball, as in football, he played for 2 years before graduating. He truly became one of Berlin's first real three-sport athletes. The Berlin Beacon, in an article in that time, referred to him as the second Babe Ruth because of his baseball prowess. In addition to his playing varsity baseball and basketball. He also played afternoon intramurals. If you were doing that today, that would be a cause for discussion. After graduating, Ed played with the Kensington Maroons semi-pro baseball team, a team that sometimes drew up to 1,000 fans at the old Percival playing field. In 1941, Ed joined the Navy, serving on the USS Wasp, an American aircraft carrier, as a deck gunner. While on patrol in the South Pacific, covering operations for convoy and resupply units headed to Guadalcanal, the Wasp was struck by Japanese torpedoes with the loss of 193 men of his group. After leaving the service in 1945, Ed played several years of fast-pitch softball for the Villa Garden restaurant. Ed passed in 1997, and today we welcome him to the Berlin High School Athletic Hall of Fame. To speak for him is his nephew, Richard Avery.
Just a few words about dear Uncle Ed. To start with, he was on his way out of school when my brother and I were just little shavers on our way in. So we never really knew of his accomplishments in sports. We found out later on what kind of a sports guy he was. After his Navy tour, playing in the league in Berlin, softball league, I heard one guy say that it's remarkable. He's got an arm like a rocket ship, like a rocket launcher. And I couldn't fathom that. And a couple of more guys said, when he throws the ball down to second base, it looks like an aspirin tablet. Well, I couldn't fathom that either. But I begin to realize that there's some history behind that saying, because as the guy that roamed around a little bit, I didn't play that much. My brother was the ball player. I was the kind of a sub, what you call it. And anyway, when I got close to the other bench, I heard the manager over there say, if you're on first base, don't, under any circumstances, try to steal second on Ed Maguda, because you're going to be a dead duck. With that, I just want to say thank you to the committee for recognizing his sports abilities in the past, and it's a great pleasure to be here, and enjoy the rest of the party.
Our second inductee today is a 1957 graduate of the high school, Mr. Ken Burt. Ken graduated in 1957. He was a three-sport athlete. He was a catcher on the baseball team as a freshman before switching to golf during his sophomore year. He also played football for 4 years and was the co-captain of the football team in his senior year. During his football career at Berlin, Ken played offensive end and defensive linebacker. According to the Hall of Fame member and co-captain of the 1955 state championship team, Bob McCann, he remembered Ken as an athlete that although he was not an extremely big man, no one had a bigger heart than Kenny on the football field. In the championship final game of that season, he caught a pass with 4 minutes to go in the game when Berlin was down 5 points. The team ended up winning the game by 2 points and the Merit Championship for the undefeated football season. The golf team at Berlin started out as a club team in 1953, led by the legendary coach Don Bates. In 1954, the team became a competitive sport and played several matches. In the years that Ken played, 1955 through 57, what set the team apart from other sports at the school was their small school class. In the 1956 state tournament, Berlin was the only small school entered, and Ken became the medalist of the entire tournament. In 1957, the team qualified again for the state tournament, and out of 73 schools, entered the tournament ranked 27th. Ken, one of the best golfers in the state at the time, finished 6th. Ladies and gentlemen, to speak for Ken, his daughter, Debbie Ahern.
Hi, everyone. As they said, I'm Ken's daughter, and I'd like to speak on my dad's behalf. I would like to thank the committee for selecting me as an inductee this year for Berlin High School. Being inducted into the Hall of Fame is an honor. I was glad to play 4 sports while at Berlin High: baseball, basketball, football, and golf. It was a wonderful time of my life. Thank you to my friends from the class of 1957 for supporting me, and especially for Jimmy Newman for nominating me and taking me to the games these past few years. Thank you also to my family for attending this event. I'd also like to mention that unfortunately my dad lost his brother, Jim Burt, also unexpectedly this past Monday. He was also a graduate of Berlin High School, and he was really looking forward to attending this event. And although he's not here physically, we know he's here in spirit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Debbie.
I was a teammate and a friend of Kenny's, class of 57, and we've been friends ever since. And we do go to the games, especially the football games, all season, most of the season. Yeah. Kenny and I and a bunch of the class of 57, we graduated like 62 years ago.
Well, you count them. You count them.
We go to the games, and I watch the games and really interested, but Kenny watches the cheerleaders.
Our next inductee is Sean Garrison from the class of 1990. Sean graduated in 1990. At the high school, he played varsity soccer and baseball all 4 years. In his 4 years playing soccer, he was co-captain during his senior year and was selected as a member of the Northwest Conference All-Conference team. Baseball was where Sean truly excelled. He was a Northwest Conference All-Conference team selection in '89 and '90, the CHSCA All-State selection in '89-90 as a pitcher and a first baseman. In 1990, the New Haven Register State Player of the Year. In 1990, the ABCA All-District Player of the Year, and the 1990 Graduate Gatorade Circle of Champions Connecticut Player of the Year. He was also the recipient of the Berlin High School Outstanding Achievement Award and the 1989 Coaches Award for baseball. Sean had a career pitching record of 21-1, with his only loss in the state semifinals during his sophomore season. The Berlin High School baseball team was a 2-time state champion in '89 and '90 during his time there. In the 1990 Senior All-Star Game, he hit a grand slam and had 5 RBIs to lead the state of Connecticut All-Stars past the Massachusetts All-Stars. Sean was considered by baseball scouts to be one of the top 3 pitching prospects in the state. He was drafted by the Houston Astros in the 1990 amateur baseball draft, but chose to attend CCSU with both an athletic scholarship and the Arute full tuition academic scholarship. In 1992, he signed to play with the Harwich Mariners in the wonderful Cape Cod League. Ladies and gentlemen, please greet Sean Garrison.
First of all, the Hall of Fame committee, thank you. for giving me the privilege to be part of this great class. Berlin High has a great tradition in athletics in every sport. Our baseball team excelled then, it still does now. I was very lucky to be part of it. Great bunch of guys that we were lucky enough to bring home the state championship, both the 1989 team and the 1990 team. The group that I played with, the majority of us, we started playing together when we were 11 years old. And we played every summer together, and all the way through, we're still friends. And you got guys like Rob Manzo, who are still coaching back in the town to this day, which is a great thing. We did as well as we did because we had talent, but more important, we had great coaching. All the way through, we were taught the right way to play the game and the best way to go about using our talents as best we could. That summer of our freshman year, we finished second in the country. We went and played in the Babe Ruth World Series, and while we were down there, the New Orleans manager had been to 19 World Series. And when he spoke of us, he told our manager that we were the most, let me get this correct, sorry. Mans, you want to get this one? The way he said it is, to sum it up, we were fundamentally the best team he had ever seen in the World Series at that time. And to me, that speaks to coaching. That's how it started. It was Bill Pettit, Ted Swanson, Eddie Guyana. My dad was with us the whole way up. There's a bunch more. Gary Van Etten was there. Leo obviously took over the helm at high school, had us, and we had great success. And that's all because of coaching. And I'm very proud to be part of them teaching our teachings and giving back to the program. I've coached in town, and Dave Swanson's back coaching in town, and it's a great thing. I hope it continues. Let's see. That's about all I got. In closing, thank you. It's a privilege to be part of the Berlin High Athletic Hall of Fame, and I will never forget this. Thank you.
From the class of 1992, please welcome Miss Joy Cooper. It's okay, Joy. Joy Cooper graduated from Berlin High in 1992. She was a three-sport athlete participating in volleyball, basketball, and softball, where she was also a multiple all-academic Northwest Conference selection, in fact, in all three sports. She went on to study social studies and education at Central Connecticut State University, graduating in May of '96 and returning for her master's degree in reading and language arts in 2002. Joy's professional and personal values were largely shaped from her high school experience as an outstanding scholar athlete. Joy was a dedicated athlete who recognized and honored the importance of teamwork and sportsmanship. She understood how her role on the team contributed to the team's success, serving as captain in her senior year for all three of her teams. Additionally, she was recognized for her academics by receiving the All-Academic Awards in her senior year in each of the three sports. During her volleyball career, she won the Coaches Award in 1991, the Serving Award with 92% accuracy in her serves in '91, and the same year was an All-Northwest Conference selection. Joy's determination to excel in sports was demonstrated by the fact that she was a three-year starter in all three. For Joy, the school year was divided by seasons, not semesters. And as the fall season came to a close, she traded in a volleyball for a basketball. As a four-year letter winner in basketball, Joy recognized the importance of foundational skills and perseverance. She won the three-throw award twice in '91 and '92. She was also an All-Northwest Conference selection in '91 and '92, and was also on the Southington High School All-Tournament Christmas team during the Christmas tournament that year. During that season, Joy motivated her team as a captain and participated in the senior Connecticut-wide all-star game. As spring rolled around, she could be found behind the plate at Sage Park, where she handled the catching duties and was a 3-time Northwest Conference All-League selection. As a member of the 1990 Class M state championship team and the 91 state runner-up team, Berlin Hall of Fame coach Ken Parsiak referred to her as a clutch hitter, a natural athlete, and a force behind home plate. During her senior year, she was a captain, CHSCA Senior All-Star, and a CHSCA Hartford Current Class M All-Star selection in softball. Joy has been a social studies teacher in our community since 1997, has been at the McGee School from 2002 to the present. She has an extensive and growing coaching resume, including JV softball at Berlin from 97 to 99, JV softball coach at Avon High School in 2000, JV softball coach at Lewis Mills in 01, an assistant varsity coach for softball at Berlin in 02-03 and 2005 to 15, and has resumed her position at Berlin High School again this year. Head softball coach at Morgan School in Clinton in 2004, and the head girls soccer coach at McGee from 2016 to the present. It is my pleasure to present Ms. Joy Cooper.
Please let me begin by congratulating my fellow inductees today. Ken, Sean, Edward, Bill, Kyle, 2006 men's basketball team. I am so honored to be joined by such an amazing group of athletes as we enter the Berlin Athletic Hall of Fame. I would like to thank the members of the Hall of Fame committee for recognizing my contributions to Berlin athletics and presenting me with such an honor. Thank you to everyone in attendance for giving up a precious Sunday afternoon in April. But most of all, thank you to my cheering section sitting over there. Growing up in a large family, my life started as the 9th batter in the lineup. Yes, there are 9 of us. Each sibling had a position to play in a designated seat in the dugout, AKA the dining room table, which extended into a second room. Our coaches, Bev and Roy Cooper, managed daily operation and drew up the plays to make each of us all-stars in our own way while working for a common goal, family. I learned the dynamics of what it meant to be a member of a team growing up on Butler Street. I was 5 or 6, Wrangler jeans, maroon collared shirt, blue Nike sneakers with a white swoosh, matching red, white, and blue wrist and headband, ponytail. Dribbling that ball, I felt like Larry Bird on the parquet floor of the Boston Garden. I was hooked. I was the only girl in the group, towered over the boys. Jump shot after jump shot, I fell more in love. This was my first memory of playing basketball in the Berlin Community Center. Winter turned to spring, and the court changed to the diamond. Farm League, number 8 on the Orioles. Second base, leadoff batter. I think it was because I was a girl. Like professional surfer and shark attack survivor Bethany Hamilton said, heck with sugar and spice. Little girls are made of courage, sacrifice, determination, commitment, toughness, heart, talent, and guts. Enter sports at McGee. As the competition grew, so did the desire to be more successful. Emphasis shifted to the team and the role within. Focus on fundamentals and getting better every day. Whispers of my successors at Berlin High School winning championship fueled my desire. Michelle, Pam, Robin, Tammy, Deb, Monica, Jen, all members of this Hall of Fame, were carving their niche, and I was ready to create mine. Volleyball, basketball, softball. Each season, a different role and responsibility. My coaches would put me into a game, but it was up to me to make an impact for my team. Whether it was floating an ace over the net, finding the open player on the fast break, or throwing a runner out at second, that is where I was able to find motivation to thrive. I understood my role on the team and embraced it. My triumphs were not driven for personal gain or headlines in the DeBritton Herald, yet the result of family-first attitude that I learned while batting 9th in the Cooper family lineup. The success of the team and my supporting role is my greatest accomplishment. Coaches Tirigo, Hall, Parsiak, I thank each of you for the role you play in my achievement. You knew when to push me, how to motivate me, and gave me the opportunity to reach my potential as an athlete. The lessons you instilled with your leadership built the foundation for my coaching style. It was the camaraderie of the team and the family that helped forge my desire to go into education, and I wanted to be able to share similar experiences and lead young female athletes like I have been able to do. For the past 20 years, I have had the privilege of coaching basketball, soccer, and softball at both middle and high school. Watching my former student athletes grow up and play in high school and beyond gives me great pleasure. From athlete to coach, and always a fan, sports have provided me with a sense of purpose and belonging, and a feeling of being part of something that is bigger than yourself. I would be absolutely remiss in not sending a giant shout out to my unbelievable parents who are with us today in spirits and have allowed me to follow my athletic dreams. Thank you to my family who has always been my #1 fan, especially my sister Paula, who served as my personal scorekeeper, even though I didn't always appreciate her feedback. Thank you to my adoring partner, Samantha, who has put up with my complaints about practice times and bus rides and waiting for athletes to be picked up as their parents were running late, not to mention my procrastination for writing the speech. From the bottom of my heart, I thank all of you, and I'm completely humbled by this incredible award. Thank you.
Bill Robinson graduated from Berlin High School in 1999, where he was a three-sport athlete participating in football, basketball, and baseball. He was a member of the varsity basketball and football team, being selected to the Northwest Conference All-Conference team for football in 98 and 99, and a Northwest Conference All-Academic team selection for all 4 of his high school years. He was selected to the New Haven Register, honorable mention All-State team for football in both 98 and 99. But baseball was the sport where Bill really excelled. He was the recipient of the Coaches Award in 97 and 98. The Northwest Conference All-Conference honors came his way in 97, 98, and 99. The 99 CHSCA Hartford, Connecticut All-State selection, he participated in the CHSCA All-State baseball game in 1999 in Fenway Park. The 99 baseball team won the Class L state championship, was ranked #3 in the state. Bill hit .540 during his senior season and .886 in the state tournament. He was the MVP of the 1999 American Legion State Tournament, batting .650 in that tournament. After graduating, Bill went to Wesleyan University, where he continued his outstanding baseball career. The team won the Little 3 championship in 2000 and 2002. Bill was an All-NEASC second-team selection in 01 and 02, and a first-team selection in 2003. In 2001 and 3, he won the Walter McNaughton Memorial Award as Outstanding Baseball Achievement and was the team captain at Wesleyan in 2002 and 2003. In 2002 and 3, he pitched 4 complete games versus Little 3 rivals Amherst and Williams, with 2 shutouts, a 1.29 ERA, and a 4-0 record. In 2003, he broke the all-time career hits records in his final at-bat for the university. Bill graduated in 2003 with 7 all-time individual records, including career hits, RBIs, and doubles. He was the 2003 Wesleyan Male Athlete of the Year and graduated with a BA and went on to receive his MA in 2005. In 2015, he was inducted into the Wesleyan University Baseball Hall of Fame. Today, we add Bill Robinson.
This is
been a real treat to go back and look through the scrapbooks. Thank you very much, Mom. Reading about accomplishments. It's a lot of fun. I haven't done that in a while. But one thing I noticed as I was going through the scrapbooks and reading the articles, you notice the date at the top, and it says 1998, 1999. Do some quick math. That was 20 years ago. Incredible. And if I didn't need another reminder, but I play pickup men's basketball at the YMCA. Earlier this week, I threw my back out. My sciatica has been killing me all week. I'm just glad I didn't have to be wheeled up here to do this speech. I have officially reached middle age. But seriously, I wanted to thank the board of directors. It's a fantastic honor. I'm very proud, specifically men like Jim Capodice and Rick Pentor, who watched me play many games. Thank you very much. Like I said, it's a great honor. The Hall of Fame itself, fantastic institution, great idea. Thank you, Jim Day. I've seen how this plays out at other organizations, at college. It really becomes this common bond that binds us through the generations. We played on the same fields. We changed in the same locker rooms. We got the same speech from Coach P at Sage Park, whether it was in 1985 or 2000. It's a great tradition that we have here of excellence in Berlin. Be remiss if I didn't thank my parents, Ed and Mel, sit over there. I don't think they ever missed a game from high school all the way through college when the trips got even longer. My mom even got in a car accident and made the second game of a doubleheader in upstate New York. So thank you very much for supporting my passion. Obviously, I'm going to echo a lot of things that Sean mentioned about the coaches. This tradition of excellence at Berlin, it is real. I want to thank everybody from Little League coaches, Gary Van Etten. I remember him walking me around the outfield after I gave up a home run Little League All-Stars that hasn't landed yet. Crying my eyes out. He said, good things are coming for you. Hang in there. This is a tough one. Nick Pepe. He coached me at McGee basketball. I took more offensive charges than anybody on the team. He promised me McDonald's milkshakes for every charge that I took, and I still have not received those. But that was kind of my skill in basketball. That was about it. But I think Nick's greatest achievement for me was he convinced my mom that I was going to play football before I ever even had the conversation. He just said, we can't wait till he gets on the football field. So thank you, Nick, for I didn't have to fight that battle with my mom. Coach P and Coach Day, what else can we say about these leaders of men? The people that they've churned out in this program is just incredible. I could spend a whole speech talking about these two individuals, but just know that you've shaped me and all of our teammates for years to come. Coach Manzo, played Legion ball for him. I love playing for this guy so much that I begged him to come to my college and help us out because we needed that Berlin toughness on our college team. So thank you, Coach Manzo. When I think about the hours of extra batting practice, ground balls that we took, they always said yes. These guys had jobs too. I don't know how you did it. So thank you. You guys just invested in us, and we do appreciate it. And obviously, Coach Velius, it just brings me so much joy to be able to speak publicly about Leo Velius for the first time in 20 years. I love playing for this man. Just the way that he coached, the way that he motivated, quiet leadership, playing the right way, playing the game the right way. Again, I could spend all speech talking about Coach Velius. He commands respect, teaches the game the right way, and a master motivator. A couple more, and I'll wrap up. But the story about motivation, this is a good one. Going into sophomore year, I thought I had a good chance to start as a shortstop, and so I spent all winter long just practicing. I hung a piece of carpet off the ceiling in the basement, and I must have taken thousands of swings, just worked till my hands bled. Sure enough, I started sophomore year. It's like the second game of the season. I don't know if you remember this, Coach, but Bases clearing triple, absolute missile in the right center field gap. I was on cloud 9, put us ahead. It was basically my first important varsity hit as a Berlin athlete. I get to third base, and if anybody ever played for Coach Vilius, you know what I'm talking about. You expect he's going to rah-rah, not at all. I turned around, I went out to shake his hand. He has his hands on his hips, and he goes, now remember all these thousands of swings I took over the winter. He goes, we have to work on your swing. And he was right. So that's the kind of leadership we all responded to. He never let us settle for anything less than the best. And it just goes back to what Sean said about this culture of excellence in Berlin, the coaches. It leads to a culture, success, to winning. And it's a real thing, this Berlin tradition. And I have a unique perspective because I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Meriden. And so I always heard about Berlin baseball and all the championships you guys were winning. You guys went to Cuba. And it was a dream come true when I moved there and when I was 12. Again, thank you, Mom. But I remember standing in a McDonald's in Meriden and saw the 12-year-old Berlin All-Stars. And these guys, they looked like the Yankees. They had, they were all 6 feet tall. I think Dan Sullivan was shaven already. They had their uniforms perfectly, pressed. And the next year, I ended up playing for those guys. Just again, getting back to the excellence, that 99 team that I played on, we won the state championship. 7 out of 9 starters on that team played college baseball, which is just an incredible fact. 2 of which played professionally. Ryan and Jesse, you all know them. 3 won national championships, Dan Silva being one of them at Eastern. Just the whole program, not just the baseball team. We had 5 state championships in my senior year. The baseball team, women's soccer team went undefeated, won a state title. Golf. We were so good, our cheerleading team won a state championship as well that year. So it just permeated throughout the program. And lastly, I just want to say I'm just grateful to be a part of that. I've carried it with me throughout work, whether I'm trying to close a big deal or going for that promotion. I lean on those experiences, that shared success with my teammates. I carried it in college. Coming from a winning pedigree, you could just spot the kids that didn't have that same experience. I even carried it with me in my personal life with my beautiful wife, who is a little bit out of my league, but I had the confidence to go after it anyway. Thank you. Lastly, like I said, I always come back to these experiences. I lean on them. If I'm having a bad day, I remember some of these great things that we accomplished as a team, and it all goes back to that winning pedigree, that tradition of excellence here at Berlin. Now that I have a 2-month-old son of my own, Charlie, who is, by the way, the most handsome, talented, beautiful baby on planet Earth. He's right over there if you want to go check him out. The prerequisite for Charlie is we have to find a program like Berlin. I will not tolerate a mediocre program or mediocre coaches. I just can't think of it. So I've been talking about this since before he was born. So the solution is either we're going back to Berlin so he can play here, or Coach Vilius and Coach Manzo, you're coming down to the shore and coaching him. Thank you very much.
Speeches are getting better and better, huh? Kyle Zarotny, 2006 graduate of Berlin High School. Kyle graduated in 2006 during his freshman year. He was a member of the JV and varsity basketball and baseball teams. During his sophomore year in basketball, he was selected to the All-Northwest Conference basketball and all-tournament team and received the Berlin Defensive Award. During his junior year, he was a key member of the Class L State Championship baseball team and was selected to the Northwest Conference baseball team and received the CHSCA Honorable Mention All-State selection. As an integral part of the basketball team that year, he received the Basketball Coaches Award, the William A. Gibney Basketball Award. During his final year as a senior, he was all-academic Northwest Conference and captain of both the baseball and basketball teams. He was a second-team All-State basketball selection, as well as a preseason McDonald's All-American nominee for basketball. The basketball team that year won the Division III state championship, the first in the school's history. He was selected to the CHSCA Senior All-Star Basketball roster, as well as the CHSCA Connecticut All-State Baseball roster. After graduating, Kyle was recruited and played baseball at Central Connecticut, where he was selected to the All-Tournament team as a sophomore and again as a senior. The team won the 2010 NEC Baseball Championship. Between the junior and senior year, he spent the summer playing in the Atlantic Collegiate Baseball League for the Sag Harbor Whalers and was selected to play in the 2009 ACBL All-Star Game. Let's welcome Kyle Zaratny.
I first wanted to start and thank the committee. I also want to just congratulate all the inductees today. This is a great accomplishment, and I'm honored and humbled to be a part of this great class. As I stand here today, I still can't believe my high school career ended 13 years ago, and I'm the youngest one that was up here. Time really does fly as much as you don't believe it as a kid. And over those 13 years, I continued my sports career in college. I married my high school sweetheart, Jen. I had my little pup, Mia, to our home. We have a beautiful baby girl, Quinn. And I have another little girl that's going to be blessing us with her presence in about 4 weeks. So when I look back at my career, there's so many memories that come to mind, both high and low. I was fortunate enough to win a championship in both basketball and baseball. And I remember all those game days walking through the halls with my jersey on. Basketball, baseball, it didn't matter how anxious I was for school to end just so I can focus on those games. I remember the routines and the superstitions of what CD to throw in my car while I was driving to the ballpark or driving to the gym. And although I'd love to reminisce about the past, what I really would like to do is thank the individuals that helped me not only celebrate those highs and those lows, but provided the love and support to overcome anything that was thrown my way. To my parents, John, Sharon, my sister, Caitlin, my grandmother, Peg, I may not say this enough, but I love you guys. I promised my team, by the way, that I wouldn't cry last night when we were out to dinner. So you've been there all since the start of my story. Maybe not you, Kate. You came in chapter 3 or 4. But I still love you. And in all seriousness, I can't thank you enough for all the sacrifices that you've made. Traveling during summer ball, even during high school, showing up to games, having dinner, whatever it was. You supported me through my career, and I thank you. I can't thank you enough for that. Each of you has inspired me in one way, shape, or form, and you've made me who I am today because of that. So again, I thank you guys. Jen, you've been on my side through thick and thin. The one that has always told it to me straight, whether it was good or bad. You've challenged me. You've helped me reach goals that I never thought I would be able to obtain. And you were there on every game, cheering me on, laughing at my embarrassing moments, and providing me advice when I came home on all my mistakes during that game. There's never any positive. No, I'm just kidding. But I thank you for being you and providing me the endless love and support that you have throughout the years. I'd also like to thank all my friends, family that's not here, and all the Berlin supporters who showed up throughout my career. Cheering us on, the biggest thing that sticks with me too is the Red Sea. They just brought so much energy and emotion to each game, and it made each game feel like a home game, whether we were away or obviously at home. This leads me to a story, though. It was my sophomore year, and this has stuck with me throughout my entire career. Kind of made me who I was as a leader instead of a player. I just threw down my first career dunk. Obviously, I'm ecstatic. Coach takes me out because at that point in time, I had asthma. I needed a little breather. I go to the water cooler, and I see a bunch of my buddies standing up in the corner, pointing at me, laughing, and just embracing the moment. So I started pointing back. I was smiling, happy. And next thing I know, I turned back to my coach, and coach was right there in my face. And he starts to tell me I should be pointing at my teammates that are on the floor, that are on the bench, my coaches. They are the ones that were with me through the morning practices, the 5 a.m. Tryouts. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, well, 6 a.m. I guess, but felt like 5 when we were getting up at that. But I sat back down on the bench and I really thought about it. And he's right. You know, they are the guys that sweat the blood, sweat, and tears with me. You know, they're the ones that are challenging me. They're the ones that make me better each day. I should be celebrating with them. I was fortunate enough to play 2 team sports. I'm not an individual. This is a group effort. So without them, I'm not standing here today. So last but not least, I want to celebrate and thank you to my coaches, to my teammates. I'm not going to name them. I'd be up here all day, and I'd feel like I'd forget somebody. So, but fortunately, some of them are here today, and I just want to thank you all for the laughs, the good times, the bad times, but most of all, the memories. Thank you.
We're going to induct our final induction, which is our team induction this year, and it is the 2006 boys basketball team. There are a lot of them here, as well as their coaches, and I'm going to ask, rather than have a cattle charge after I finish, that they all come up and form behind me at this time. So all the members of the 2006 team and their coaches, etc., please come up at this time. The 2006 boys basketball team from Berlin High School. As stated in the 2006 yearbook, that while trekking through 9 losses, the basketball team rose to then unfathomable heights to finish with 19 wins and a state championship. Never surrendering an ounce of determination proved to bring the team to an echelon of greatness that will never be stolen from them, and nor will it ever escape each one's heart or mind. Not only did they win the state championship, but they won the hearts, the respect of the school, the town, and the state. In their run to the state championship as a number 11 seed in the CIAC Division III tournament, they defeated Wright Tech, Waterford in the second round, Coventry in the quarters, Woodstock Academy in the semi, and the number 4 seed in the state, Wilby Waterbury, 58-53, to win the championship game. The team was led by seniors Kyle Vasquez, Kyle Zaratny as co-captains, Dan Hagan, Andrew Norton, and Brian Legou. Other key contributors were Doran Mitchell, Eric Deach, Jeremy Thompson, Patrick McCandless, and Craig Kudnow. Doran Mitchell led the team in the championship game with 26 points. Jeremy Thompson scored 12 of his 13 points in the second half. And Kyle Zaratny had 8 points and 9 rebounds. Doran was selected as the state championship MVP. Other team members were John Guzzi, Chris Jambard, Teddy Kindelan, Patrick King, Jeff Muzio, Scott Reed, and manager John McNair. They were coached by Dave Basso, assisted by Brian Amenta, Jason Pires, and Bob Mayer. Other notable achievements during this wonderful season were the team being a Northwest Conference tournament finalist, with Doran and Kyle being named to the All-Northwest Conference and All-Northwest Conference tournament teams. Kyle was a McDonald's All-American nominee, and Doran became a 1,000-point scorer during that wonderful season. Ladies and gentlemen, our team, the 2006 state champion Berlin High School men's basketball. Wonderful. I got you. to speak for and to the team, the head coach of the championship team, Coach David Basso.
Get the hell out of the way, buddy.
Thank you, Coach. Dinner starts at 6, so 30 minutes or so should be? Okay. So on behalf of the 2006 Berlin High School boys basketball team, thank you to the Board of Directors for this honor, and sincere congratulations to all of the inductees. Shortly after a tough overtime loss in the 2005 state tournament quarterfinals to London, I received this card from Howie Dickerman, the former head basketball coach of CCSU. He wrote, "Congratulations on a great season. Your disappointing loss was to a very, very good New London team. Circle March 18th, 2006 on your calendar. That's the day when the Redcoats will be climbing the ladder and cutting down the nets in Dietrich Gym." While his prediction was incredibly accurate, he wasn't the first to believe in this team. Despite some people telling us that it was ridiculous to let the kids think they might have an opportunity to compete for a state championship, it was something that we as a coaching staff and we as a team always felt was not only a possibility, but something that we needed to prove to ourselves and to others. During the 2005-2006 year, we had an excellent mix of talent and a strong work ethic. Duran could drop 15 points in a row and enthrall the crowd with his moves and his passion. We wanted to take credit for it, but we couldn't. Kyle could have a triple-double of points, rebounds, and blocks while completely dominating both sides of the floor and be a consummate team player. Kyle Vasquez could hit a clutch three that swung the momentum of a game and act as if it were the most natural thing to have happen. Jeremy Thompson grew as a powerful post player and rebounder, and Eric Deesh was a steady leader on the floor, more content with getting the assist and allowing his teammates to excel. Patrick, John, and Craig were reliable and athletic off the bench and gave their all, so focused and so coachable. Chris and Teddy and Patrick and Jeff brought hustle, determination, and enthusiasm to every practice and game, challenging everyone to be better. Scott, although injured, was there every day to encourage his teammates. And we all had the utmost respect and admiration for Dan and Andrew and Brandon, who were unselfish seniors who took pride in making their teammates better players and better people every day. John McNair, only a freshman, volunteered his time and energy as a team manager, and I'm glad he was on the bench with us that day, and thank you to Mr. McNair for videotaping the game. Our coaching staff worked very well together. As a head coach, I relied very much on the insights and expertise of Coach Menta, Coach Pires, and Coach Mayer. Each had a unique way of interacting with the players, and it was satisfying to know that this was a total team effort on the part of everyone. So much of what we were as a team that year went unnoticed to the untrained eye, but was critical to our success. There were so many little things that everyone did that collectively made a big difference. Things that would never show up in a box score or be written about in the papers. Something like winning the loose ball battle, or making sure we always huddled and everyone always shook hands with everyone else at the end of practice. It was fundamental to our sense of team identity. And that huddle at the end of practice on the day before the state championship game was bittersweet, knowing that win or lose, this was it. When we arrived at CCSU for that state championship game that day, we stepped off the bus with confidence and excitement. There was a light snow falling, and the Berlin fans who were waiting in line to enter the facility began to applaud us and encourage us. It was with a great sense of pride and a feeling of a community united behind us that we entered Dietrich Gymnasium. The Red Sea was more electric than ever that day. Family and friends came from all around. We wanted to make sure that our guys played hard, had fun, and soaked it all in. We showed up, we played great, and we defeated a very strong Wilby team. Every one of our guys stepped up at exactly the right time. We played as a team, and we won as a team. And although we had much success as a program during our time, there was something about this game that was just pure, unbridled, genuine happiness. As coaches, it was thrilling to see how much joy exuded from our players and our supporters. The victory and this team were the culmination of years of hard work, time, and sacrifice on the part of many people. Players who graduated years before know that they played a crucial role in what we were able to accomplish in 2006. And I believe they felt a part of the victory. When each player climbed up the ladder and cut a piece of the net that afternoon, it was a simple yet powerful act of togetherness. That moment in our team photo after the game is frozen in time, and we will never forget it. It is a part of who we are and what we've become. On the bus ride home, with a police escort through town and kids in the neighborhood near the school chasing the bus and cheering, it became clearer how monumental this moment was, along with the understanding that we likely would never have such an extraordinary experience ever again. That soon it would become just a distant yet vivid memory. And in the years since, it is unbelievable how fast the time has gone since that day in mid-March, 13 years ago. Although it was amazing, it was never about the win. Ultimately, it was about the manifestation of the life lessons we attempted to instill each day. Upon reflecting for this evening, I am reminded of the final line of the great basketball movie Hoosiers. It was something that we knew then and know now even more so with the passage of time. I pictured the gym and the ball bouncing and the squeaking of sneakers and that team photo, and I am left with only these words: I love you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the induction ceremony for the 10th year of the Berlin Hall of Fame. Please, a rising ovation for all of this year's inductees.
Sit down.